We are so back. What's good, Adam? Where are you at, man? You a little bit traveling, huh?
I am in Portland, and let me just tell you, Portland is lost, man. Portland has fallen, man. It is not great over here. I've been here in like 15 years, and it is. I'd heard it's bad, and it is as bad as people said it is, man. Literally have people. I mean, we're renting a house. Not a cheap place, right? And best good part in the city. And there's literally people in tents laying out front of the house, man. It is not great. So anyway, you're glad you're in Vegas, bro.
Yeah, it's nice weather. It's nice weather out here. It's pool season again. Finally went to the first pool over weekend, right after celebrating, talking with Leo on Spaces for fucking. Felt like all weekend. This man ran 2 different 8-hour spaces that I was co-hosting with.
Bro, that first one was huge, man. I mean, well, I don't even know multiple thousands.
My favorite moment, I have to say, was Tyrese from Fast and Furious and the singer and the hip hop artist or R&B singer coming up and talking with us about shit coins and meme coins.
Crazy, dude.
Absolute funniest thing, and how he had aped a project called Freaky Kiki. It was just hilarious.
Bro was trying to pump his bags, man. He's up there trying to pump his bags.
To me, it really kind of speaks to this idea. He basically said that he didn't want to get left behind. And so this is why he started buying NFTs. But he said he saw us talking in the space and he was learning about runes and ordinals. And he was like, I just want that feeling of being able to get in early. And I was like, you're literally speaking to what every single degen in this space wants, is to be early to make a bunch of money. It was really just speaking to it, but a guy who has 3 million followers or whatever, and like a successful kind of music and film career.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah.
Chris, how did you do, man? How did your Runes launch weekend go?
Yo, I'm currently dying, so stick with me. But runes were good. I think I pulled an all-nighter Friday, just tinkering with everything. It was super clunky. There were some bugs on Xverse where they were sending basically your ordinals to your Bitcoin payment wallet. So there's a couple wallets that I have to kind of revert back. But I mean, all in all, I mean, it was a crazy weekend. It was fun. It was one of the funnest weekends in crypto in a while. I feel like the energy was there.
Sure.
People are obviously upset about the similarities between BRC and where kind of runes are. But I mean, I think it just takes a little bit of time. There could have definitely been some more creativity too. There was some super weak,
sure.
not a lot of excitement in that realm, but just the energy surrounding the whole movement, I think, was pretty cool. What did you guys think of the opening weekend?
I thought it was quite flawless. But first, everyone who's in the space, make sure that you retweet the space so that everyone could hear our strategy and some of the insights moving forward regarding the space. If you have any questions, make sure you hit that purple button in the bottom right-hand corner, or just join us on stage and we can talk.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some stories from people on what's been happening.
I've got a lot of insights. I thought it was quite flawless, to be honest. I mean, there was a few infrastructure misses, but not day one. I mean, day 2, day 3. One of my guesses has already come true with a marketplace blowing up due to Cenotaph issues and UTXO.
Oh, whoa! Let's get into that. What happened there?
Unisat's already like destroying everyone's shit.
Oh, I saw. Was that the one where somebody's UTXOs got pushed together and then sent out, basically? But it sounded like
so there's that, and there's also yesterday, I believe there was like 30 or 40 different purchases that had a cenotaph and basically were burned. And so from what I was reading, a bunch of the larger, I would just say more technical savvy ordinal degens were saying it's something about Unisat's, or how Unisat has built their marketplace in a way that is not, I guess, relative to the underlying technology or something like that. So Magic Eden, honestly, very smart business decision. They were supposed to launch their runes marketplace today. They saw that Unisat was having a bunch of issues. People were frustrated, and they launched it literally. That's like one day early because of that. Just capturing it. So
just capture it. Yeah.
They're watching.
I was trading on Unisat. I used Unisat. It seemed to work okay. But obviously, you know, this sort of stuff. I did see Unisat's response to the dude who lost, I guess, something pretty significant.
Like 15K, right?
Yeah, he had sent him out to a different wallet and then back in or something, and then lumped all the UTXOs together. They took some responsibility. I think a third of the responsibility, whatever that was. You know, but yeah, hey man, this shit is fucking hard. It's honestly, it's amazing. It works so well. I think the general vibe I'm getting on the timeline is, you know, that it felt a bit forced was the general feeling. But these are also generally, you know, ETH guys who felt ordinals was forced. Felt the whole thing has been forced, right? The whole thing is one grand scheme, you know, by Bitcoiners to bring degens back to Bitcoin, and I would say, yeah, that's probably true. But yeah, that was kind of the negatives I heard. That, of course, the clunkiness of it, right? It's definitely not Solana, so you know, but we all knew that going in. I definitely think it's better than BRC20s. Like, you don't have to do the pre-transact. I don't even know, you know,
the transfer inscription,
the transfer inscriptions, all that sort of stuff. So, and it seemed like even when, I don't know which one I minted, I think it was the Satoshi one. It recognized them. I don't know how it must have got processed where I think I just put in one mint transaction, but it actually had split it up because that must have been the way it was purchased or whatever. And it recognized them separately. I was able to like sell them separately and stuff. And so it was pretty seamless for me, but I'd love to hear other if people had different experiences.
Yeah, it was, I would say it was definitely a much overall win. The fact that Bitcoin did not have a reorg, that the sats per VByte for one block, I think there was an average that got up to around like 1,300 or 1,200. And miners made, I believe, around $78 million or something of something in that area in one day is just.
Let's just say this is all one big psyop for the miners, bro. I mean, that's certainly at the end of the day, the winner chicken dinner of the whole thing is the miners. I mean, it is incredible. The amount, how much was that block? 2.4, 2.5 million, something like that. Yeah. The value of that first magic block after the halving. Really just incredible. The amount of fees being paid. That's for sure. But we got Mr. Bugsy up on stage. Bugsy, man, I know you like to have the I'll say it, traditional Bitcoiner perspective.
He's gonna shut on everyone's bags right now.
Of course.
Here comes the fun, guys. Let's hear it, bro.
No. I was just curious on your thoughts on the splitting of your UTXOs to sell, right? I mean, we're still stuck in this situation where there's no pools where you can say, hey, I want to buy X amount, and that's the amount that I want to buy, right? It's I have to split my UTXO up. I got to make sure that UTXO doesn't have, 0.1 or 0.2 Bitcoin in it by accident and accidentally sell it. And you're still kind of stuck in this batch or like clip selling where whoever the seller is has to determine how much they're willing to sell, right? It's not the buyer saying, I want to buy X amount. It's the seller, similar to BRCs where you're selling in these clips. So I don't think that kind of went away, right? Like it is a little bit different, and it might be slightly more efficient where you can batch split and then, assign in one transaction, you can split into 5 UTXOs and have 20 in each or whatever. But it's more of it's still this batch issue where if someone like wants to unload 1,000 of something and they just want to bulk sell, that's like a huge floor issue that people will have to buy that up. You know what I mean? But I was just curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I would say that it's just, excuse me, the infrastructure is just not really there yet. It was something that we expected. I know Luminex has a splitting tool. Magic Eden has said that they're coming out with one. I guarantee you there's going to be a ton of education that comes out with a lot of this stuff. It does feel more efficient and more improved, but I think everyone who is heading into this, at least the logical ones who aren't just, endlessly shilling tokens, knew that it was going to be very similar to BRC20 to begin. I mean, Magic Eden's marketplace is a little bit of an improvement. If you've gone, it feels more like an order book than kind of Unisat stuff. They're going to have a swap tool. There's literally, I don't know, 10 other marketplaces and exchanges that are going to do something similar. I know the OmniSat team is working on something closer to kind of Uniswap swap style exchange. But I think most people got to realize, though, is that once you start getting into that territory, there's going to be some off-chain components, some additional off-chain components, right? Because the ownership of Runes is off-chain. But just be aware that once you start getting into that territory, there's a little bit more stuff, so leveraging other types of off-chain protocols.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And, I just think that, people may have been hyped a little bit too much. And I'm glad that we're talking about these things afterwards. I think the biggest point that I was trying to raise was, even if there's tooling to split these UTXOs up, you're still paying that fee to do so, right? So if fees are, right now, they're $25 for low priority. I mean, if you want to split if you want to split into 5 UTXOs, that's like $125. Or over $100. You know what I mean? So these are things that people just don't think about, and I just there's like kind of maybe not two camps, but two ideologies, right? It's like we got into ordinals because we wanted the immutable on-chain assets aspect, right? But now everyone's just shilling the next Binance list. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's one of my favorite things about the whole.
Right.
It is like you realize people are complex monkeys, and when we are complex, like at the end of the day, the most important thing is number goes up, right? If number just went down on runes for 8 months straight, there would be no runes, right? Number must go up to some degree. And so people will do whatever it takes to get number go up. And if that means we just trade on centralized exchanges, that's where it goes. I mean, we could have that larger conversation about all of Bitcoin moving on to centralized exchanges because it's too expensive for people to send small amounts of Bitcoin, right? It's like that's kind of the meta discussion happening in all of Bitcoin right now, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it is funny though how it's not funny. You see it all over the space, and Bitcoin is no different, right? And like Binance listing, that is seen as the tip of the mountaintop, right? It is funny though.
It is, yeah. It's very funny, and I know we're kind of seeing these like L2s that are just multi-sigs that people are basically just giving up their keys and then trading, completely trusted, similar to an exchange. But hopefully we can kind of I don't know, get back to the roots a little bit. Like, even I know people were shilling like lifting these onto Lightning and stuff, and I don't know how viable that actually is. But hopefully, like, even just talking about Bitcoin in general, like I would like to see L2s and scaling done that way rather than just buying even Bitcoin on exchanges, right? Like, if I can still buy my coffee and do my my buying and selling of whatever I want, like a house or a coffee or whatever, on Lightning or a eChummy and eCash, that's much less trusted than a centralized exchange. So it's just trying to find that balance between I'm willing to make this trade-off, but I actually have the ability to claw back my funds and pay an on-chain fee if I want, right? Kind of that unilateral exit aspect, but we're just not there yet, I guess.
Yeah, it's going to be just like ordinals. There's going to be a lot of people throwing shit at the wall to see if it sticks over the next six to 8 months or so, while everyone considers it pretty much dead. What's up, Ship Hop? What do you think?
You're muted, man.
Or hip hop? Ship Hop.
Sorry. I heard one of you mention like some of the bugs that were going down with Xverse. I minted a room, and it showed on chain that I purchased it, but it never hit my wallet, and I could never just figure out why. It had like green, it had the green thing, and then a red one at the end where it was like I received it. So
What site were you using?
Means you're probably front run.
Were you on Luminex?
No, I was on Ordinal Spot.
Yeah, you're if you can, so you can't be front run if you're etching the rune. So if you're the one that's deploying the ticker, you can't be front run. But if you're minting, you can be front run. And this, from what I've heard and read, that's happened to a lot of people.
Yeah. So what that means is like whatever, there were 1,000 tokens available, and you didn't make it into that first 1,000, right? You got 1,200.
Check your ordinal scanner under the runes tab and see if it's in your wallet. It might be in the payment UTXO set, and so you might need to export it.
Okay,
but
when you say that, how do I do that? When you say check my scanner,
just go to any ordinal scanner, and then you can type in your wallet address, and then go to a runes tab, and see if it populates under your wallet. It's probably there. It was a pretty big issue over the weekend.
Yeah, I'd recommend use ordiscan.com is what I've been using as the Explorer. Luminex is also pretty good too.
Appreciate you guys. I'm gonna try that now.
Luminex crushed it this weekend. That was phenomenal.
Yeah, I would say so. If we talk like winners and losers over the weekend, I would say by far Luminex came out ahead. Like, they're kind of right. They started out as a BRC20 launchpad over a year ago. They launched OXBT and MXRC and some of these other ones, and actually had a lot of issues. There was a huge amount of bot issues, but Raf and Jerry, who are the founders, they also created Doge Punks. They stuck with it, and from what I see, they have a partnership with Gate. It looks like they're the ones that are providing the API services to Gate to trade Satoshi Nakamoto and some of these other ones on spot and leverage, I suppose. And they have the best interface. I mean, if I pull it up here on the live stream, you could you get the whole entire minting experience literally on just one page. You don't have to scroll up or down, and you could just it's a really, really good interface. Yeah, that makes it quite easy to scan everything. So I would say they by far are the biggest winners. I had also said that Unisat was a winner in the beginning because you kind of forget about them at times, right? Because Magic Eden is just taking so much mind share. And Unisat came out and they were providing infrastructure. And after about 2 days, it looks like they are having some issues, and Magic Eden's capitalized on that. I don't think they're going to give it back for a while, honestly, until whoever comes out and builds an AMM or some other tool to capture some of that liquidity. I mean, it's still kind of wide open, right? It's still such a small market compared to everything, but Luminex and now Magic Eden. I don't know, Adam, were there any other tools that you had used that captured your attention?
No, I mean, Luminex made it so you didn't even need a node, right? And it ran smooth. I didn't see it go down at all. No problems. That's where I did my stuff. It was super smooth. But you do get the feeling. I mean, I didn't check it yesterday, but I didn't see Magic Eden was up, but now it is. It might, the way these things work, like there's going to be a window here of a few months maybe where somebody else could come in and maybe eat their lunch. It's possible by doing rewards, or who knows, maybe providing some liquidity or something. But odds are Magic Eden's just going to take the whole thing, right? Because it's like, if you're going to trade, you want to trade where it's the most liquid, where everybody is. And if it kind of moves to Magic Eden over the next couple weeks, it's going to be real tough for somebody to come in and take that from them. We'll see. They were smart to get it up quick, obviously. Get on this while it's hot.
Did you guys talk about the nodes? And no, I mean, I'm not laughing at people that were running umbrals, but I mean, like,
you can laugh at me, bro. Go ahead. Tell me I wasted my $400 and 3 days of my life setting that sucker up, bro.
No, I mean, if the thing is, like, if you're really passionate about it and you're doing it for the right reasons, and now you're potentially setting up your Sparrow and verifying your transactions through your node, like, that's awesome. But I don't know if the majority of people are doing that. But obviously, the majority of people run X first, and they have their own node that they sync to. They don't allow you to sync to your own node. So like,
no, but Bugsy, you love that a bunch of us monkeys, literally hundreds of us, were setting up nodes. So this is all the Casey psyop to get us all running Bitcoin nodes. So this is actually, you love this, right? Like, this helps decentralize the network. This is good stuff.
Yeah, I'd be careful with the decentralized network, because I mean, like, we're not prone to civil attacks, right? Like, if no one's using their nodes and they're sitting there doing nothing, it doesn't actually help with anything. It helps jack shit. But
wait, don't say that. But I mean, come on, man, Bugsy. This is the myth we've all been fed, is that running the full node keeps us all free, bro. Keeps us free.
That's right. Yeah, the key point is economic nodes, or if, like, you yourself are verifying your own transactions. But no, my point was, like, if you were really passionate about minting runes from your command line, and like you got into the nitty-gritties and actually learned about it, that's really cool. But yeah, I think a lot of people just kind of opted for Luminex, paid their $10 to $20 fee, and then honestly probably saved more money than spending $400 to $500 on a fucking node. But and like it's just really funny, like, coming back now and like, so everyone, how's your node running going? How'd that input screen go? And like, as soon as fees went to, like, 2,000 sats per byte on the halving block, people were like, fuck, like, I don't have enough money for this, or whatever, right? And some people did make money, I totally get that, but I think a lot of people were underwhelmed with kind of the experience day one. But
yeah, I think at the end of the day, though, it's like, and we talked about this a lot leading into it. It felt like a really crowded trade. That just everybody seemed to know about this. If the infrastructure didn't work and this is what I think, it was still wise to put time and effort into it, because if the infrastructure did fail, like if Luminex failed that first day, the nodes would have crushed. You would have absolutely crushed, because you would have been the only one minting. So, I agree with you. But like all good degenning, no risk for no reward, right? So I thought it was a solid play. Turned out to be not necessary, which is good for the entire ecosystem. Not good necessarily for the node runners' bags. But it was. Go ahead.
You're hedging your bet for $400, and I think that's a pretty cheap amount for people, especially in the degen space, spending thousands of dollars on
totally
whatever. So yeah,
I think it just speaks to the sophistication of the builders in the space that are able to first follow Casey live while he's building this protocol, and then kind of build around it, right? They're kind of building, they're kind of building infrastructure for a plane while the plane is being built. Right. I know that's like kind of a cliche. People use that example a lot, but it worked really well. Like, they're really it was really quite flawless. I would say in my 8 years in this space, probably one of the more flawless executions of a protocol launch coinciding with secondary activity, to say the least. But let's talk about now, like kind of where we are currently, right? The last day or so, or 2 days, there's been kind of a lot of, I guess you would say, disappointment or FUD, right? Or people are just kind of engagement farming around the experience. But there's kind of multiple things happening at one time. People, first, if you just look at the top 10, and I could pull it up here on the live stream again, it's mostly pre-mines, which I kind of expected that. I was kind of talking about that could be a possibility. So Leo with Dog to the Moon, they paid, I think it was like around 3.5 Bitcoin. And as of now, we have 8,300 tickers that have been etched. But if you go to the oldest, right, you have Uncommon Goods, which people were just donating to the miners, I guess, because there was like 13,000 Uncommon Good mints in the first like hour, even though it's an infinite, right? People just, I mean, I get it.
I mean, I understand trying to be the first, but even that, we're not even sure if you could track the first or whatever. But after like that first 30 seconds, what are those guys doing? It seems crazy to me.
You have the decentralized, well, you have Fihu, which still kind of to be determined. That was funny. I don't know if you saw with Fihu, there was 2 different accounts claiming to be the etcher of it, 2 different Fihu accounts, which was kind of funny. It's very typical crypto fashion. Decentralized, which is a CyberKong team, they've been really crushing it. Obviously, Leo with Dog to the Moon, man, his account is skyrocketing. It's well over 200K now. So congrats to him. The Runix token, this is the BVM guys. I've been following them. They're the ones who created Alpha or New Bitcoin City. Do you remember that? The social app that was Bitcoin. So they created basically their own Rune layer 2. And so that token is supposed to leverage within that. So an interesting experiment. It looks like Dog is able to mint in a day. So that's number 6. And then Satoshi meme economics. And you kind of go down these and you look at everything. So Satflow, this is Robert's company. This is the one that's doing all the meme sniping. Pups World Peace, Trevor with Ninjas at number 14. You have Magic Internet Money. This is the Wizard meme coin. You kind of go on, and you start noticing a few things. I spent like 3-4 hours yesterday and literally combed through every single ticker in the first like 8,000 because I was just curious to see really what's going on. And you see really in the first 1,000 or so, it's mostly, there's a lot of pre-mines from a lot of companies, which I think is something to pay attention to, which maybe we'll talk about in a little bit. You start, and then all of a sudden after around like number 2,000 or so, it's literally just mostly meme coins and like weird tickers. And you do see some companies and stuff that are pre-mines, and you could tell the companies because it's literally the company name and then like whatever it is, right? And I would recommend people to look through for yourself to see which companies have etched, because as you could tell, they're taking a little bit of a different direction from the meme coins. They're looking at this and saying, hey, I've been building in the Bitcoin ecosystem for 6 months to 6 years, and they want to do a token. And so there's an interesting kind of layer there where ordinals and Bitcoin collectors have this is just collectors in general, have this preference for low serial numbers, right? And so I already heard people yesterday talking about the 10K club for runes, right? So if you pre-mine all these, these all in the top 10,000, and then you release the token, let's say a year from now, and runes are in the hundreds of thousands, or right? Does that add a little bit more value because it is early, right? I don't know if it does, but it's still, I could see the culture kind of conforming around the 10K club, even if the value doesn't, just to kind of show. Because what it shows me is that these teams are serious, who are coming in. You have the knowledge that you need to etch your token early, and there's probably been months of planning behind this. So for me, right? There's kind of two parallels that are happening right now. You have meme coins, which are really hit and miss. I mean, there really hasn't been many. Billy deployed one yesterday, memepool.space, and it minted out within like a few hours, right? So I think it's for meme coins on Bitcoin, it's more akin to watching what's being posted on Twitter than it is to sit there on Ordiscan and try to capture some of these. It means
Totally.
in the current meta, right? So you got meme coins, or you got these utility tokens where these teams have pre-mined, and there will probably be pre-sales and public sales, or farming programs, or airdrops or claims, and kind of that's the one that I'm gonna be watching more than these meme coins, because again, it just shows that there's intentionality behind these, that you have to go in and etch these and kind of hold off and kind of launch it for a while. It's always something that they'll have in their back pockets. So from that perspective, it's something I'm watching.
Yeah, I think you're right too about better to watch the X timeline, because that, I mean, we all understand, and if you've been in Solana meme coins, you understand that attention is absolutely everything. Like the moment you don't have enough attention, your meme coin dies. And so when Billy tweeted that out yesterday, I was like, oh, that might have legs, because Billy's known. It'll get attention. It got attention and very quickly minted out. And those are the type of things that, I think from a, buyer's perspective, you do have to pay attention to. Like if, I don't know, Anson today tweeted out some meme coin he just, launched, that those are the ones that are going to have a potential to maybe have a little run. They might not be successful long-term, but certainly you can get this kind of like short-term pump, which you see just again and again on hyperspeed over on Solana. I think it's going to play out a little differently on Bitcoin just because of the nature of it, how slow it is and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's you and I minted or etched a couple of token tickers. I was like, I'm not going to do this. And you were like, bro, come on, man, join the club, bro. And so I was like, all right, whatever. Here's $500 miners to etch my stupid ticker.
It's more to just like tinker with it.
Yeah,
and
just
play around with it,
mess around and have fun. But you and I both know it's like, if we do that and then put it out there, I mean, I haven't put mine out there because I just don't even, like, you just realize if apes ape into it, like, bro, you're tied to that motherfucker. Like, you're tied to that thing the rest of your life. You're tied to it. And it might not be bad because it was a public mint and free and whatever, but also, they're gonna be in your DMs, man. When are you gonna pump this thing? And it's like, god damn it.
It's never
ending,
A few things I want to note before we start calling on hands here. So with meme coin specifically, well, first I etched, I think it's Are You Winning Son? Because I just wanted to test it out. I did a 1% pre-mine, and I noticed, I think it was around like the 1,000 etch or whatever, because I really just wanted to test it just to kind of see what would happen. I noticed on ordinals.com, if you do a pre-mine, it shows like the available, it's like the available supply over the pre-mine. So for example, I pre-mined 1% because I just wanted to see how it would look.
Right.
And also to see if people were kind of interested in if a 1% pre-sale would be something people ape for meme coins. So far, it does not look like that at all, right? Unless you're Satoshi Nakamoto, because you're in the top 10.
Yep.
I pre-mine 1%, but on ordinals.com, it says pre-mine 99.9% because what they're doing is they're looking at they're taking the available supply.
Right.
So I minted 1%, and then somebody did one full mint. So that person owns 0.1% of the current supply, right? Which is or the minted supply. So there is some UX things there, which I think it's important for people to pay attention to because it can really throw you off. But so far, what I'm seeing is most people are not really interested in even a 1% pre-mine. Also with meme coins, I don't see any ticker that's taken off that does not have an image, right? So when I etched my Are You Winning Son, I didn't put an image at the time. It would have been 0.4 Bitcoin.
Yeah, it was expensive, dude. I was like, what, bro?
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Instead, it ended up, I think, being like 0.02 or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is still a lot, right? To just kind of test something and see if people, but right at that point, it's like, hey, you pre-mine 1%. If people like it, then hey, you're up, right? But if not, then you get to test it. One more thing with meme coins. I think a big reason why a lot of them are not really taking off is that there's literally hundreds of millions of dollars allocated to these the pre-runs, right. So you have like what $400 million in pups, a few $100 million in wizard, right? Maxi's migrating, Pepe's migrating, all of these, and so everyone's kind of just waiting for those because it's like, why would I ape some of these when I've literally spent 6 figures on pups or whatever Ansem or whatever those guys are shilling. So I do think that, the meme narrative is going to take a little bit longer. But if it takes too long, right? Are you going to have market support? People come in and buy this stuff if it takes 2-3 weeks to figure out this migration. I mean, the pups migration is actually quite complicated. If you listen to Farmer Joe talk about this the other day on an AMA, because there's BRC20 that has been bridged, that's in an LP. Right. So in this case, right, if you're going to airdrop or you're doing a claim, you have pups BRC20 and then you have pups Solana. And then the pups that are on Solana are also staked or LP'd. Right. So you're probably not going to get a majority of these. So you have to he said he's going to create an indefinite claim portal so that you can take the BRC20, claim it, get the runes. Right. But you could see something happening here where, right, this would be kind of like a worst case scenario and would fragment the market. People go claim their pups and then they create another Solana pool. So then you have pups BRC20 on Solana and then you have pups runes on Solana and you have 2 different pools, right, for these charts, which is something that could really happen. And it's really tough to know because you're going to have to let the market kind of determine it. I personally think it's going to happen just because people are going to be excited. They're going to claim, right? You'll probably get maybe 20, 30, 40% claimed. And then people are going to go spin a pool up because that's exactly what the community's been accustomed to. But then the people who are LPing BRC20 are probably LPing, 6 figures of it. So they're like, why would I go do it when I'm already making money here? So, and then you still have Wizard and all these other ones and high fees. So, it's going to be a little bit of a bumpy ride for a lot of these meme coins for a little while to see how they land. We'll go to, all right. Oh, the hip hop leave. I thought it was going to call on him. So we'll go to Halazo, and then we'll go to Bugsy and then Neighbor right after.
Thanks, Jake. It's Jalazo, by the way, but appreciate the opportunity. No worries. Listen, I've been in Web3 for a while, but have really kind of avoided the Bitcoin ecosystem. Obviously, a holder, but I've been really paying more attention to ETH and Sol over the last couple of years. I'm now trying to figure out runes because I think it's really interesting, but I'm very much at the beginning of my journey. Are there any resources that you could point me to in terms of understanding the general, what's going on here, as well as like, what the projects I should be paying attention to are? Is there a place where I can just find those? I want to understand what this ecosystem looks like and, find that information quickly. So yeah, any recommendations, places you can point to?
Yeah, so I pinned to the top. So Dogfather's got a pretty good ecosystem map. I would say to start there, and it gives you links to all of the pre-run tokens, right? The marketplaces, launch pads, wallets, etc. I think that's probably a pretty good starting point. I don't know, Adam, if you have any other places where you learn runes material.
No, I think that's a good start. Just understand it's like Solana, but clunky and expensive. So you can create, like, you go create one right now, and it's going to cost you $400, right, rather than $2, and it's basically infinite, just like Solana. So it is what it is. The thing is, I guess the difference with it is on Solana, you can create the same token name, you can do the same stuff again and again, right? The difference here is you can't, that name is unique. And so, but it's unique and basically infinite, right? I mean, it's like the namespace is so huge, it might as well be infinite. So that's the kind of difference if you're thinking about creating or making tokens, or, so just, I mean, that's the way I frame it for myself when I'm, to know how many times I got rugged on Solana, to understand that that's completely possible here. It's just the barrier for entry is higher, right? So if somebody creates a token, they've put at least a few $100 into even making the thing. So that's kind of a little bit of a differentiator, but just to kind of frame the way runes work, kind of thing.
And so incredibly helpful, and I'll definitely take a look at those resources and appreciate that explanation. And just a quick follow-up at a high level, what is kind of the unique selling point here? The fact that it's only one name per rune token. Is it used? Right now it seems like it's used mostly for like the meme coin stuff on Bitcoin. Is that
the unique selling point is that it's on Bitcoin. That's it. That's the unique selling point. The unique selling point is this is Bitcoin, and so it's the ability to create meme coins easily on Bitcoin, trade easily. Like that's the kind of overarching meta.
Yeah, I think the tough thing about this sometimes is like even when people want to buy, a lot of people from Solana and ETH are getting confused because they buy it and then someone basically takes that transaction from the mempool, puts in their own address, pays the fee, and then obviously you get refunded your amount that you paid. Like you're not burning anything by that sense. But yeah, like the mempool is like a PvP realm where you can literally snipe. Say for example, a coin's worth $1, but you know, there's a transaction in the mempool that's like 50 cents for the same thing. So people will take that and then they'll take it for themselves, kind of thing. And people are obviously getting a little bit pissed off about that, but you know, that's Bitcoin, right? Like we got to realize that's the limitations of Bitcoin. That's how Bitcoin works. So people that are getting frustrated with that might just be new to the space and don't understand that. But it's becoming a more, you know, more like that tool is available to a lot more people. Like it's becoming more public. So just to be aware of that.
Yeah. So that's a great heads up. It's very similar to similar in the way that it's clunky in the same way with ETH, where ETH you could, if there was a big event happening, you would have to do high gas. And then if you didn't get it, your gas got rugged. There's similar clunkiness on Bitcoin that Bugsy just described. You typically won't lose any Bitcoin, which is, you know, like a feature, but you can get this like front run thing where you think you're buying something and somebody, you know, pays a little bit more and they actually get it and stuff. And so there's different like choke points and things to kind of be aware of, just because it's a different kind of the way the assets are handled is different. So there's the kind of that learning curve. But actually, I think in a way it's better than ETH in that you're typically not going to lose your Bitcoin. Typically, you still can, and we just talked a little bit earlier about some happening that people did lose some Bitcoin, but it's a whole lot less likely. Like a whole lot less likely. So yeah, you got to kind of learn the nuances.
Also, I would like to add, Jalazzo, learn about ordinals as well and the ordinal theory first. I have a pinned post in my page that has all the 101 for ordinals and Casey and links to the book, to the handbook. So check that out.
Definitely will do. Really appreciate this, guys.
Absolutely. I was just gonna say, like in terms of Jake, you know, saying the 1% pre-mine thing. A lot of people also will deploy a token and then obviously mint it right away, and even sometimes in the same block, so that they have the supply that they want, but it's not quote unquote pre-mined, right? So something to kind of just
totally, man. Totally, yeah, totally. Yeah. And this is the type of thing. That's actually exactly what happens on Solana. And so you guys who are familiar with Solana know this game, right? It's like there's a bunch of people or just one dude with 50 wallets, and it looks organic because a lot of people are buying it, but it's not organic at all. So yeah, that's something to absolutely have your eyes out for, and try not to ape into kind of situations like that. If you don't see anything happening on Twitter and it's not a big account kind of pushing something, why is something getting jacked and minted out real quick? It's probably either, I mean, look, if it's not on Twitter and it's not public, it's happening behind closed doors somewhere. So if it's not one person, it's a group of people who will probably dump on your ass if you go and ape into something like that. So heads up.
That's right. Yeah, and another thing was, like obviously you can see the addresses with the amounts online, but I think the big thing right now is Obviously, there's like the whole protocol was being released on the halving. The fees were super high, so these evaluations of these tokens weren't starting at zero, right? They were starting at 30 to 90 million dollars just in fees alone. So people didn't want to obviously sell for less than they minted. So I think we're kind of seeing a big sell off here because of how high they were paying for those mints in the first place, and the fact that there was thousands of releasing at once. So you're really fragmenting everything, as well as a lot of people are paying for a lot that they don't know might not even go up, right? So I think a lot of people saw the volume pump, on Friday or whatever. Saturday, Sunday, it's kind of been dying down, and now people are almost capitulating with these super high fees. We're back at 300 sats per byte. People are just dumping their shit at whatever price they can get right now because they're just trying to claw back at least some of the money that they paid for these things, right? So I think a huge fragment of what's been going on, right? Like Pepe or like other random tokens on other protocols. It was like, there's maybe a couple others that were pumping and doing volume, but like right now it's just like just a shit show of shit. You know what I mean? Like it's just so fragmented. Every influencer is shilling their favorite shitcoin that they minted, and everyone's like, no, mint mine, or no, buy mine, right? And there's just so much to pick from that it's almost just like disheartening and like underwhelming, I guess.
So if I'm looking at the prices here, it looks like most of these tickers have been cut in half since the Magic Eden marketplace went live. I think that could also be just attributed to creating a more efficient market so people could get in and out much faster. Right. One of the things with BRC20 is because it takes a transfer inscription, a lot of these have like huge 200% pumps, but it's just because no one can list, or it takes a few blocks to list something, right? That's like the age old thing that scammers do on.
Yeah, if you can't sell, the price can't go down.
Sometimes friction's a good thing, as they say, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
So right now, it looks like the top token is RSIC is at a 237 million. It was almost up to 400 at one point. Satoshi Nakamoto is down to 62 mil, right? So it's down about 50%. And Wenko Casey's furry fetish is down to 35 million.
I haven't heard of that one. What
you don't know right? You don't know
behind that one. What was that one?
So from what I was listening to, some of the ordinal guys, I think it was like Butoshi and Owl who created Inscribed, Pepe's, and a few of the other ones. Yeah. They used some sort of AI tool on Casey's blog posts, and they came across Wenko Menko, which is Casey's 5-paragraph story about somebody who has cravings to fuck a dog, I guess, or something like that. Jesus Christ. Something of that nature, some sort of bestiality fetish with furries or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, and people have found pictures of Casey posting about furries years ago. So, and him and Aaron, I guess, talk about it a lot. So I guess they have some sort of furry fetish or something like that. And they turned it into
horrendous.
Yeah, but it that thing also pumped to a fuck ton, and a bunch of your favorite ordfluencers just dumped a fuck ton, right? Like whoever's pumping it is clearly just trying to create demand to sell it. But that's just coming from the Bitcoin Max perspective, right?
Yeah, and then after those, I guess you have one of the utility tokens, or I guess community tokens. Gob is Gob. That's the token for Game of Blocks, which is at $8.3 million. Then you have a few more meme economics, which was a top 10. Runestone Pups. I don't know which one that is. And the ticker Elsa, that was the first. I was talking about this on Twitter with somebody. The reason why the ticker Elsa, I believe, pumped, and Satoshi Nakamoto, is that they were actually just products of availability and not just actual good tickers. I mean, Satoshi Nakamoto is a top 10, right? With a 20% pre-mine, it would not. Yeah. If it was outside of the top 10, it would not pump like that.
Honestly, I think the only reason that pumped, we were like literally live when it went live, and like just hit buy, right, or hit mint because it was there, right? Yeah. And then like literally a minute later or whatever, Bruff was like, "Oh, it's pre-mined." I was like, like I had immediate regret, right? And I think so. A lot of stuff happened like that just because it happened so fast, right? And first, top 10. And so, yeah, there was a lot of hype behind it. But I think people you're like, dude, 20%. Come, I mean, I'm sure those guys are already dumping and probably dumped half their bags. I mean, I have no idea, but
it hasn't moved yet. It hasn't
really moved. Okay.
No, I would assume so. I would assume some people, they're either gonna use it to get it listed on exchanges, or maybe they turn it into a project. You never really know, right? They could just be holding off and not do anything and come out and say, hey, this is a token for whatever platform, right? It's you have no idea.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, at 1 billion, that's $200 million. So just that might be at some point. So just be aware of that. So
I commented. We commented on it immediately when we saw that it was pre-mined, and I said, actually, hey, this is I don't put the if I had infinite money where it pained me nothing to pay 400 grand for an inscription, I would have definitely tried to get an early one, right, and pre-mine 20%. Because what's the downside? What's the risk? Like, the risk is, okay, the money you paid to get it in that first block and get it high up, but your upside is ridiculous. I mean, your upside on 400 grand is $200 million. Like, almost every rich person on earth would take that bet, right? That's an incredibly good bet. So, I don't fault them for doing it, but certainly the market, when you realize what it is, I immediately pumped the brakes. I did not mint more at that time.
Pump the brakes. And then I'm gonna call on somebody right after this. And then the ticker ELSA, that was like the first one to really pump. That was the first free and fair mint. So that was the first no pre-mine decentralized mint. And then I saw some people posting about it later saying it was deployed by some sort of pump group or something like that.
Of course
Classic.
Right. So you figure like the first, 50 wallets that got it were all just the dudes in some Telegram somewhere, right? I mean, look, these are PvP games, man. I mean, that's what this is on Bitcoin. So everything you guys are experiencing on Solana or Base with meme coins, this is the same thing.
This is why I'm more bullish on using runes as utility for a project for two reasons. Meme coins are PvP. If you're averaging 4,000 transactions a block, that's just an average, right? It's almost impossible to play PvP on more than just one ticker, right? Because that's generally just what's happening on one ticker on Solana. So these are probably just going to go trade on Merlin or go trade on Solana or go trade wherever, right? So that they could play these games. But if you're using runes for utility, it has to exist on layer 1 for these interactions. I saw somebody post yesterday, I think it was Eloc or somebody, about a recursive runes endpoint so that inscriptions and ordinals can be aware of runes. So it means that like an ordinal can display the balance of a rune. I think that these kind of things are really attractive, and I know degens and builders will find all kinds of different ways to leverage endpoints and make sure these all interact with each other. And I think that's not a PvP. That would be more of like growing the pie, right? Because they're trying to experiment and dabble with kind of the on-chain economy. And so I think that there's two kind of emerging narratives for people to play. You could sit there and have Luminex open and try to mint whatever it is and listen on Twitter and get your own meme coin, or you could kind of follow the builders. And if you look, again, there's probably about, I would say maybe 50 to 150 tickers that I noticed in the top 10,000 that belong to a project of some sort. That's at least identifiable. Of course, there's going to be some that teams minted where it's like some sort of random name that doesn't identify the company. But there's probably 50 to maybe 200 in there in the top 100, which also shows, right? 99 out of 100 tokens are going to be shitcoins. Just like,
yeah, absolutely. Go to zero.
Just like in the real world, right? 99% of businesses fail. So just know right now, you saying maybe 2 of 100 are legit projects. The rest are just meme coin trading. So,
man, crazy.
Naver, thanks for being patient. And then we'll go to Jalazo.
Just want to say thanks.
All right, Bugsy, man. Thanks for coming up, brother.
No worries. How's it going, guys?
Was good.
Glad to be part of the conversation.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, just thought I got to jump off for a call in 5 minutes. Just thought I'd share my experience, my thoughts, and just overall, how everything went. I think a lot of us kind of both mentally, but both, we all prepared for this Rune launch, months in advance, kind of expecting it to be the next big thing. I know when it was launching, we were sort of in our community. I think we had about 120 people in BC, just ready for the alpha. But as soon as it hit that block, gas just flew. And I think for the first couple of hours, I want to say 1 to 3 hours, there wasn't much buying going on. We were just watching what was being etched, just seeing the orders, trying to see who got first, where everybody landed. And then, I think you guys are talking about it. Elsa was definitely one of the first ones we all minted because it was a fair mint. But I think just the overall thoughts on it, I do think a lot of people feel like it was a little bit underwhelming. I didn't think I would be able to kind of get a lot of sleep on Saturday. I did get a few hours of sleep, but I was like, okay, well, nothing's really going on. So I did get some sleep on Saturday. But I think with everybody right now sort of fudding it and saying, oh, this was a flop, this is not going to succeed. I think we just kind of need to take a step back and think about what was just offered to us, right? I know everybody's comparing it to BRC20. While it kind of looks similar, obviously when you trade on Unisat, it just gives you that BRC20 vibe, right? Whereas when you're looking at Magic Eden, and they're even talking about improving their UI, you can see it kind of feels a little bit different, but it does feel like an order book for sure. What I want to just sort of point out is keep in mind that this is something that Casey built. And if we kind of look at what he did last year with ordinals and how there was a lot of people that didn't believe in the protocol, and where we are now and all the adoption, I still think that there's a lot of opportunity here for runes. Even when you're etching a rune, there's one field that says turbo, yes or no. So it does allow the runes to kind of upgrade to the new updates of runes. So I know it seems like everybody's bags are down, everybody's sad. We see the same, 2 to 4 runes being shilled, but I think giving it some time, allowing these platforms to adopt it properly and implement the runes fully, and just looking out for what Casey has in stock next. That's sort of where I'm at.
Good advice. Can you tell me, I did hear about that turbo, but I forgot what the heck that is. Can you refresh our minds for that so we know what we're doing if we're etching a rune for the first time?
Yeah, so if you do enable the turbo, it opts you in for future protocol changes. So whatever they may be. So you can either put off and have this, legacy rune where, my rune is as per whatever it is today, or I don't know what kind of changes it can bring to the protocol, but whatever it is, once you enable yes, your rune will kind of follow the new protocol.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So in the turbo field, you either put true or false.
Yeah, good. It's a good note. I think we will see some upgrades here in the future. I don't think Casey's he said that it's close to being done. I have a hard time agreeing with that he's just going to walk away from it, but
for sure,
you never know. So we'll go to Jalaz. Oh, go ahead, Neighbor.
Sorry, I just want to add one thing. It's, it is exciting to kind of have the shit coins on BTC. One thing that always holds us back, and a lot of things that outsiders always say is, well, you got the 10-minute blocks you're waiting for, right? So that obviously slows a lot of things down. You think you're purchasing a transaction now at 200 sats, blocks taking 70 minutes. Well, it's at 400, 600 sats, and now you're not getting that rune. So while people like to blame the runes protocol on this is just the nature that we're in with BTC, right? So we have to work with what we have, and But I appreciate you guys bringing me on. I got to jump on a call now, but again, appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for joining us. Feel free to come up anytime. Go Gelazo and then Major right after.
Yeah, thanks for letting me get back in here, and sorry if I'm treating this as like my runes tutor session here, but I'm here with Eden Satoshi Nakamoto, I guess ticker. This is definitely different than other dexes I've looked at before for trading. So
what site are you on right now?
I'm on Magic Eden.
Okay.
So magiceden.io/rune/satoshi.nakamoto. I guess that was rune number 6. So I assume that was the 6th block after the halving that allowed.
No. It was the number. It was the 6-1. It was the 6-1 etched. Yep. So it was number 6 on. So it's top 10.
So what does that actually mean? Sorry,
that means is that you could go etch one right now, right? And you would be the creator of that rune. But you would be number 9,000, right? So, the first one to get in the very first block, that's number 0. The next one's number 1. The next one's number 2. And Satoshi Nakamoto is, what'd you say, number 6? So it was the sixth one ever to be inscribed. So whether or not that holds any value, it's just from a cool, historical type perspective. If runes, the protocol takes off and is used as the meme coin casino on Earth, it's pretty cool that it was, top 10, basically.
Gotcha. Thanks for explaining that. Yeah.
So technically the 7th.
Oh, sorry, 7th, because these computer geeks use the fucking number 0, so it's the number 7.
Yeah, I would say I'd say it's similar to just like a dollar bill that has a serial number. It's the same thing here. Is that all the runes have a serial number, and all the ordinals also follow the same thing. The Bitcoin community loves low numbers, low digits. It's a big. I would say it's just more of like a community thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then so when I'm looking here, I see on the quantity side, it's all units of 100 or plus. I can scroll through and see how many I want to buy at a time. It seems it's definitely different than how I'm used to kind of purchasing coins or crypto, of just saying I want to buy a certain number. Can you explain kind of why this is different than my kind of normal experience buying crypto?
Yeah, so I have it here pulled up as well. So here, let me live stream this or share this on the live stream so that people can follow along here. So, right, you see the quantity, right? That's the amount of the token. So the supply is 21 million. So you're buying it essentially in batches, and it has to do with the way that it's created because Bitcoin doesn't have smart contracts. So they're using indexers to track the price, but these are paired to the UTXOs underneath the price. So that's the first thing is the quantity, right? So this would be 5. If you have it sorted by low to high, the quantity is the amount that you're buying. So it'd be 1 out of 2 million or 21 million. The price right here, the second column says price per sats. That is how much Bitcoin per unit you are purchasing. And the reason why that is there, that's really important, is because people will try to trick you, or they'll try to list like a quantity of 1 with the price per sats pretty high, but that it still equals the least amount of the total price. So you'll overpay, by 100x, but it'll still be a quite low value. So this right there, this is more just like for your use to kind of verify that it's being listed. So it's just
so Jake, you'll always want to sort by price then, right? Is that right?
So here up here they have a few things. Yeah, so you can sort by unit price, right? Or you can sort by total price. So yeah, I would generally
be very careful about that total price, because that could be a confusing thing.
Yeah, because if we go here by total price, you could probably see, so if you sort it by total price, you could see the price per sats varies. And this is just people, again, right, trying to trick you.
Yeah, they're trying to trick you, man. So don't, be very careful there.
Because you can see right here, there's a few of them, right? The price per unit, or the total price is the lowest, but they're charging $18 per unit here, but it still looks like it's the cheapest one in the total price. So I would only use this one to sort by total price if you're a little bit more of a sophisticated trader and you're looking for something specific, but I would sort by unit price so that you'll get basically the bottom of the order book. Does that make sense?
So people are basically, listing a batch of 5 or 100 at whatever arbitrary at whatever arbitrary price they pick, as opposed to just kind of there's no liquidity pool here, right?
Correct.
So it's
yeah, you can't just buy, unless somebody lists one, you can't just buy one, right? They're sold basically in batches. Yep.
Gotcha.
So when I was reading or listening, I don't know if I was listening or somebody from Magic Eden had talked about the swap. And from what from what I had gathered from it is that they're creating more of like a pairing swap or like a pairing kind of order book more than like an AMM. I don't think they'll have liquidity pools, but it'll be more what they had said is you type in a price and it'll pair you to basically the other side of it. So it's more similar to an order book because right now this is all manually done. I think they want to automate it a little bit more to prevent people from being tricked like we had said. But there are some teams who are working on the Uniswap kind of style trading. The thing to note here though, since you're a little bit newer to the ecosystem, is once you get into the AMMs and style kind of products, there's going to be a little bit more off-chain components. Although this is also a centralized experience, just know that most of these are centralized experiences. When you go into like an AMM and stuff like that, it just becomes a little bit more over time. So just be very aware of that.
I think Major had his hand up.
Hey guys, I actually forgot what I was gonna. I have a question. So where do I go and find like aggregated charts for the top runes? I mean, it's hard.
Good
for
question.
me.
I haven't seen a chart yet, Jake. Have you seen good charts yet?
No, so I know Dima at Sat Screener just got 500K in funding, and that's basically what he's doing is trying to build the deck screener for runes. I don't know how far along he is for it, but it is satscreener.com. He just announced a raise like a few days ago.
What's his name? Dima? What? I'm sorry. What's his handle on Twitter?
Here, I'll pin it to the top just so you guys can follow along. It does have market caps, and it does show. There's no charts, but it does show market caps on it. So I'm gonna pin it to the top just so you guys can see it. But I'm using this to track prices. But he is gonna have charts. Outside of that, I've pinned it to the top. Outside of that, I'm really unsure at the moment who has charts. There might be some private groups that have figured out a way to do it yet, but it's still very, very early.
Yep. Let's go to Bull. What's up, man?
Hey, morning, guys. How you doing today?
Great, bro.
Do we have? I just joined the space, but do we have anyone that's technical on the stage?
Technically insane, bro. No, what do you need? What are you trying to do, man? Or what happened? What happened to you, man?
It's also, I mean, it's educational too. I've been in ordinals for I guess last like 4 months or so, and so I'm very familiar with Xverse and Unisat, and just Magic Eden buying BRC20s. Obviously, Runes now is 4 days old. And I'm pretty careful with how I manage everything, and I've created separate wallets just for transacting with runes, just to be weary of what Casey said about the cenotaphs, or I don't know how you pronounce that, but and I've seen a couple things of yesterday. There was a problem on Unisat, and some people were just like listing their runes, and then their BTC got taken out of their wallet, and all they were doing was listing the runes. So what happened to me today was I had sent Bitcoin from I use Xverse to my ledger, and so I received the Bitcoin. Everything was fine. Then I saw that I wanted to mint some of the FIHU, just mint some of the FIHU. So I sent a transaction of like 0.05 Bitcoin to the Xverse wallet, and I was able to purchase no problem. Then I decided I wanted to buy some more. So I sent another 0.055 from the ledger to the Xverse wallet.
To that same wallet. Just so I'm clear.
To the same exact Xverse wallet. Okay.
Yeah.
And listen to what happens. And I've been using, I've been in crypto since 2016. Like, I'm pretty careful. I use a ledger. That Bitcoin transaction, I know for 100% fact, I sent 0.055. And on the ledger, you can see all your, your previous.
Yeah, you can see the total. Yeah.
Right. So my 2 transactions were maybe 30 minutes apart because I upped the sats per V by pretty high. On the last transaction, mind you, I'd already received the Bitcoin that I'd sent from the Xverse wallet, and I'd read a little bit about the outputs and inputs as far as how a cenotaph can happen, and it's usually when the outputs or inputs are not matched up. And the problems have been mostly in the Xverse or Unisat wallet. Yeah. I send out the 0.055. I ran into the bank to go grab something, came back out, and I checked my ledger balance, and it had sent 0.12 Bitcoin, right? And I've got in this wallet, I've got I should have had close to, I don't know, it was around like 0.5 Bitcoin in this wallet, but it had sent out an extra like 0.06 or 0.07, something around there. And I look at the transaction, and I see that, the 0.055 that I did input myself sent to the wallet that I was intending it to go to. But then this other transaction of like 0.06 or 0.07 went to another wallet that I had no clue where that is. And what's so weird about it is on Ledger, when you're sending Bitcoin, ETH, whatever it is, you're not typing in 2 addresses. You're just typing in 1 address.
No, it's impossible.
It's very easy, like, to use. Like, so, I've read, we've had these issues with Unisat wallet and Xverse, but I haven't seen anything on Ledger. And so what I'm kind of like wondering.
Well, the only thing I could say, just to cut you off there, is, the way Bitcoin works, right? It sends your basically whole balance out, and then you get part of it back, right? So it could just be something like along that lines. How long ago did you do that transaction?
Well, the thing was there was 3 confirmations.
So you just did it?
Well, no. This happened about,
like, how long ago was it? How long ago did you do it?
Well, this happened about 45 minutes ago.
Okay. Right.
And the thing is there was 3 confirmations. And when I look at the TX hash on it, I see that the wallet that I sent the 0.055 to, I received that, and that was not the issue. The issue is, it's like, okay, if I'm out of 0.07, yeah, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of Bitcoin. But the bigger thing here is, like, for educational purposes, and also is my Bitcoin now in that wallet?
No, my gut, and I'm not super technical, but I've just seen this happen a trillion times on other, like on Bell's Coin, which I work with, which works the same UTXO system. And typically what this is, like, every single time I've seen it, where the person's like, I don't even know what wallet that is. Like, it sent some random amount to another wallet. That's just simply the UTXOs going out. So when you have, like, we'll just use dollar terms. You have $10 in your wallet, right? And you send out $5 to me, okay? But you only have a $10 bill in that wallet. It sends out the whole $10 bill, right? $5 comes to me, but then that other 5 will actually come back to your wallet. That's why I asked, like, how long ago you did it.
Well, I would say 9 confirmations.
Okay. Well, I'm all right. Oh, I don't know. I mean, that's just in my experience that typically what will happen. Go ahead, Major. Do you want to say something on this?
Yeah, well, send me, if you can DM me the transaction mempool URL. I'll look at it. I mean, I'm not super technical, but I know some things, but I think what Jake said, it's a UTXO return for you, and that 0.7 should return to you, because maybe the UTXO you paid with was 1.2, 0.1, 0.12, and then the return, that's the change you're getting.
So okay, so I'm trying to message you, but I guess I can't message you.
Follow you so you can, yeah, I don't.
Okay.
If you,
so yeah, I mean the big I mean, obviously for peace of mind, I want to figure out,
Yeah, for sure,
what
dude.
happened here. And so it's like, in these other wallets that I have, high, a big ordinal.
Yeah, like, dude, I would say seriously though, it's very, I mean, those wallets can't interact with your ledger. They can't fuck with it. Your ledger is basically unfuckable on that level. So I'd give it some time. You know the way Bitcoin works too. It's like it can be an hour or 2 hours sometimes for this stuff to fully take place. So I understand your angst though. I mean, bro, this is the kind of shit.
Yeah,
but it's very unlikely that anything happened where if you confirmed it on the ledger, you read that little screen and that ledger said, you're sending 0.05 here. Like, it's not going to send more. Like, I just, there's virtually no chance that happens. So.
Why would but like, okay, so the Xverse wallet is receiving the exact amount that, I had typed in and sent. But in my history of, dealing with Bitcoin, ETH, and a ton of other tokens, once it's on Block Explorer and you see, I've just never seen that before where, after there's 1 or 2 or 3 confirmations, that I just haven't seen that before.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, so I've definitely seen it take longer sometimes, especially with like, I don't know what interface you're using on Ledger. Maybe you're using like Ledger Live or something.
Yeah,
it might take a little bit of time. You can hit that little refresh icon or whatever. But sometimes different systems use different number of block confirmations to confirm their system. So sometimes they'll use 3. They may use more. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ledger might not do it till 5 or 7 or who knows, right? Yeah, I would actually, I'd say don't worry, because I think you're probably going to be okay with that. Like, what you've just described doesn't sound like an issue with the wallet or, Unisat. It doesn't sound like you're having the same issue that other people had where they got, rugged out of some Bitcoin. It sounds like you just have a UTXO thing happening with your ledger, and it'll probably come back. That would be my
I appreciate that. Definitely does give me peace of mind. It's just that the timing, for this
yeah. No, I get it.
Last 7 years, and it's right after Rune's launch, and it's the Bitcoin has only touched the ledger or an exchange, and then it's touching a wallet that has interacted with Runes. And so for educational purposes, if this is an issue, it's like this.
No, that would be a huge, like, if it is an issue, right? And you can't figure this out, and it's 6 hours later and you've still lost that Bitcoin. Like, this is a big issue, right? I mean, this would be like some major like hack thing. So yeah, talk to Major in DMs. Don't share any, with anybody. Don't share anything, obviously, that would put your wallet in risk. But have some people look at it who certainly know more than me, and they'll probably be able to look at that transaction and go, oh yeah, you're just waiting for those UTXOs to come back to your wallet.
Does the UTXOs, once they're like, let's say the Bitcoin, once it's in the Xverse wallet and there's UTXOs that have been like split up, doesn't it follow that Bitcoin, or is that Bitcoin just always like, it's more like the actual Runes that you can have that issue with and not the Bitcoin?
Well, this is where it gets a little bit complicated, and since Runes is really new, my general advice is try to keep stuff as kind of sounds what you did already, which is you keep separate wallets for separate stuff, right? To try and not commingle stuff, because that's the commingling. And look, Xverse I think is doing a pretty good job of making sure you're not screwing yourself up where you're mixing, Bitcoin with UTXOs of runes or UTXOs of ordinals. So you're probably not going to rug yourself, but it can happen, right? Where if you get your UTXOs mixed up where you have a bunch of ordinals, runes, and all this other stuff in a wallet address, and you send out some Bitcoin, it's possible that that Bitcoin you sent or the gas or the fees you used to send that Bitcoin, you might have sent out some ordinals or some runes, right? So yeah, best to be, safe when you're thinking about this. And like, I think the guy who rugged himself on Unisat earlier, he made that mistake where he kind of commingled them or sent them to a, his external wallet and then sent them all back, and they got kind of commingled. And that's where he got himself into problems.
From what I read, he had sent from if we're talking about the same individual, he had sent from an OKX wallet his runes to either a Unisat or Xverse wallet before, whatever happened. But his Bitcoin did get taken when he sold the runes. The Bitcoin in the wallet also got drained.
Yeah.
And I believe it's Unisat, because Unisat commented that they were going to reimburse him 1/3 of the transaction cost.
Yep. But so, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, if I got that wrong, but it sounded like, he had sent it out and then sent it back, and somehow they got commingled. And so I think the wise thing, and Jake, maybe you have a different opinion, but trying to keep things separate as much as possible. It's so easy to create multiple wallets in Xverse. It's there's no real reason to mingle a bunch of stuff together. It just seems wise.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the input, and I'm hoping for the best on a return to the balance. And appreciate the time, and nice to be able to talk to some people who have a good technical sense on what's happening, or maybe they've seen a similar transaction, and we can just help educate not only those that have been here for a long time, but any newcomers, and just prevent any mishaps, because it can literally happen to anybody, even if you've been in the space for a while.
For sure.
That it does. That was a good conversation. We are going to wrap it up here. There's one announcement that just happened. I'm going to read. Luminex apparently was initially developing a runes DEX. They announced that they will not be building that anymore, as they realign their priorities due to them teaming up with Magic Eden. I was really looking forward to that. They were kind of hyping that up. Because it just goes to show, man, building a DEX is not easy, especially for Bitcoin. We've been building the one at OmniSat for a year now at this point, right? It's like, it's a long time. But Chris, go ahead.
Just wanted to kind of talk real quick that, once these moments in time, like Runes launch, happen, it opens up kind of the lane for a bunch of new trades, right? You have Bitcoin fee spiking. So what's that going to mean for, where is the low transaction fee users going to transact at? We talked last week how this was probably going to be kind of, a symbiotic relationship with BRC. You can see the post above from CB Spears, how BRC is seeing a bit of revitalization as well. And so just these moments in time, they always open up another lane for the next trade as well. So there's a bunch going on in the ecosystem. So just want to point that out. We'll probably talk about it more tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think BRC20 and Runes are just going to continually compete against each other. I do think both of them survive. The East seems to be more a fan of BRC20, and the West is more involved with Runes. Although it does seem like degens are preferring, I don't know, maybe BRC20. I know Runes is the new shiny thing, but I think we'll actually see once they're all migrated out to see what BRC20s survive, and also what BRC20 2.0 looks like as well. I know it has some sort of EVM component, and they're working on it all real hard, but we'll see. So it was a fun weekend. I have to say, I don't really know where it goes from here. I'm more focused on utility tokens, to be honest. I just think putting I think putting some value and some cred behind these teams who have been planning for utilizing these token, right? There's probably 50 to 100 out there. And doing that to me seems like a little bit better, more of a long-term buy than trying to ape these meme coins. But again, we'll see once Wizard and Pups and Pepe and all these are bridged over to see what kind of impact that has on the market. I would say that's probably the next. I mean, the dog. So you had Arsic was airdropped. Dog to the Moon is, I think, currently about to go underway of being airdropped. Then you have Wizard will probably be close after that. I think Pups will probably be last just because of how fragmented it is. Who knows though? It'll be fun. For those that don't know, Adam, myself, and Chris, who are on stage, we work at Emblem Vault, the world's leading cross-chain NFT protocol. It's been around since 2020 with over 100 million in TVV. This quarter, we will be deploying on Bitcoin. We'll be launching our multi-chain marketplace and a lot of cool other cross-chain products that a lot of people don't realize that they need until they get to interact with it. We will be back tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, probably just talking about Bitcoin all week again, as we always do. Seems to be the narrative. And then we'll be back on Thursday. We host our Inscription show where we cover everything Doginals, Litecoin ordinals, stamps, Bells coin, Hashinals, and Counterparty, and everything similar in the UTXO world. Oh, and Inscriptions. I should mention them because they've been crushing it. I hope everyone make sure that you stay safe. Use Xverse, use Luminex. Don't burn yourself out. It's going to be a long, long ride, and runes are here to stay. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time.